Hi everyone, this is another game from Jamie, and this came from the same weekend as the last game, but this was the Saturday game, which was Prix 2 versus Iceni. And this is the same match as my games again, with the games Nathan Gittins versus Alan Crumblenome, and when I played Alan Downham. We was heavily upgraded in this match overall, and board 1 was one of the biggest differences, with especially in the ECFs, with James being 154 and his opponents Nicholas Savage being 198, nearly 200. So does he have a hope now? Well, watch the video to find out. He does have the advantage of white, at least as consolation. He plays e4. It's a long game, this, by the way. Lasted over 6 hours, so I'm just gonna skip through the opening, which is a Grand Prix attack with an early d5. Black quickly gets a comfortable game. And now at move 18, I think white should be thinking of playing c3, liquidating the strong knight on d4, and then the position will be about equal. But he plays a3, which means now c3 can potentially weaken b3 beyond repair. And after queen a5, queen c1. Maybe c3 should have been played then again. Rook fd8. Bishop e3. You see, white might be able to play f5 someday in a second h6, but that's a long shot at the moment. And now c4 looks pretty good. And after some tactics, black ends up with an advantage. After d takes c4, bishop takes e4. Takes, rook takes, c3, check, takes, and black's better in with two strong centralised rooks against white's clumsily placed rooks and a queen that can switch across to the king side. And black's better here. Black either plays f5, kicking white's well-placed knight away, and also this leads to a bishop exchange, which could leave white weak on the light squares. And now queen a4 hitting c2 with 2 pieces. And now bishop takes d4 gets rid of the knight. And takes, rook takes e6. You see now the pawn's hanging, but now queen takes c2. Takes, and rook e2. Defending along the second rank, preparing rook e1. And white should be fine here, and this was white's best shot. It's b3, now check. Getting the queen away with tempo because white's king's now exposed on this diagonal. Now the bishops have been swapped off. King f2 and bishop f6, adding more protection to d4 and solidifying the strong knight and black's grip on this square, because in the Grand Prix black does get a very good grip on d4. And now things start to go wrong now. a4 is to be preferred, maybe clamping or stopping knight b5, because after queen d1 you see, white's pieces are now vulnerable to a fork on c3 after knight b5. After queen c1, proving that the last move was pointless. Knight c3, black is getting a significant advantage. e5 though looks good, trying to open the game up to expose white's weakened king and the temporary passive state of the white pieces after this tempo losing queen excursion. F takes, bishop takes, knight c4, bishop c3, and black has got a significant positional advantage. Knight c3, rook a1, knight d5. The knight is now rerouted to an even better square where it can't be attacked easily, except by a weakening pawn move like c4. However, black actually has a threat which seems very hard to deal with. And after rook b1, black plays knight takes e3. And white's losing exchange now for nothing. Because if king takes e3, then the killing move is queen g2, which seals off the king's escape, and there is no way to stop mate on d4. Bishop d4 mate is the threat. If c3, then we have check, takes, and mate. If d4, then takes, okay, so king moves mate. And if c3. Oops. Then check, takes a mate. Some beautiful mates there with the pawn, with the queen cutting the white king off. And now this means white can't take, and he's losing the exchange because rook takes c3 is forced, and now the rook falls for this pin. Not a good start, is it? Knight c4, b5, hitting the knight, knight e5. I mean, black doesn't have to hurry to take the rook up because it can't go anywhere. But after queen d5, knight f3, black now has to take the rook off. Now c4 in. And the only advantage white's got is that his knight's pretty good in this position with an outpost at e5. But white doesn't really have any compensation. Takes, d4, rook b8, rook e1, rook d6, and this d pawn starts to become a significant target. However, rook b2 is stronger. Rook d6, queen c3, queen b5. The b file is going to be a point of infiltration for black, and white won't be able to keep black out in the long run. Rook e3, rook c8, rook e5. Now there's a bit of positional manoeuvring now till the game gets exciting again. They've made a time control now. Time pressure was a factor in this game. Both sides were playing slowly, taking the time. And now black starts to build up the pressure again. Now they've got enough rower for 20 moves. And now, boom, rook h1, a risky looking move because the rook looks like it can be trapped by knight f1, but there's no easy way to get the rook. However, rook d1 is much stronger, and after knight f3, a5, followed by queen b1, rook b8, and an infiltration, which cannot be kept out in the long run. And black will be winning. Now knight f1, and black has to be a little careful now. His rook's incarcerated. Queen c6, protecting the rook along the diagonal. Rook e1, I think is best here. Then rook d8, queen f3, takes, rook takes d4. The rook does get trapped now, but after takes, and king f7, black should win this endgame, a pawn up. It is a rook and pawn endgame, but white's got significant pawn weaknesses as well, and black's rook's very active. Rook f3, however, looks good trapping the rook in, but now comes g5 and white's king starts starting to get shredded. The best given here was takes, queen e3 hitting g5, but this can be ignored. And after rook, if queen takes g5, a blunder, then rook takes f1, diverts the king off the rook, and then black wins. And after king h7, there's very little white can do here, and the pawns are just going to crush him. Rook e3, and now the game starts to get very exciting because if black had just played something like rook b8, then there's practically nothing white can do. Rook b1 is coming, and white is almost defenseless. But instead, he sacrifices the exchange back to get the queen in the game, which isn't very good, although still gives black a winning position. The rook takes, queen h1. You see, white's h2 pawn gets picked off with check. If king f3, then g4 is mate, another pawn mate in this game. So king d1, and now a bit of a Patsy check move with queen h1 was played. The best was the simple g takes h4, takes, and now black's king is open, so queen takes f4 should have been played, but now rook b8, threatening rook b1 mate, and now if king c1 to stop it, now queen takes f4, pinning the rook, and black 2 pawns ahead should win this game easily, as long as he takes caution to stop white's heavy pieces infiltrating into the king position. Black should win. Instead, queen h1 check was played. King e2, queen takes h2 check, king d1, and now queen h1 check. Just getting back to the game. So this is a bit of Patsy check. Rook e1, now queen d5, and black's a pawn up with a centralised king, but white starts to get a bit of counterplay now with black's king being a bit open. Queen e3, threatening to take on g5, king f7, and now if white takes on g5, then the d pawn drops with check, which is a more important pawn, and is also near white's king, so c3 protecting it. King f6 protecting g5, an aesthetically pleasing king move in the middle game. King c2, and now rook b8, seizing the open file. And but the problem is that black's now tied down to e6. So the pawn advantage isn't that good, but black should still maybe be winning this. Queen e2, just keeping hold of the e line. Now rook h8, if rook h8 had been played, and I would say rook g1, rook h3, and black is still got a very good position. But unlike one of the last moves at time control, he plays queen b5, which although threatens queen b3 with a decisive attack, it allows e6 to go. So queen takes e6 check. However, every white move has to be a check, because otherwise there's no way to stop the queen coming in. So king g7, and now queen e7 check. And amazingly enough, black actually has one move here, and it leads to a draw by perpetual, which he found with king g6. However, let's look at all the other alternatives, and it is easy for black to go wrong. First of all, if king h6, then this is answered with check, check, and mate. King h8 also steps on the h file, and this is also loses to a mate. You see, black's queen on b5 allows this mate, because the king can't escape now. And king j is pretty bad as well, because after takes, check, white's now a pawn out with a dangerous passed pawn if the queen's come off, and white should be winning this at least, or black will be grovelling to a draw. So the only actual move is king g6, and after queen e6 check, if the king tries to run to h5, it is also mated by black's queen and white's queen and rook with check. In this continuation, with the pawn on d4 stopping the king running back. So in fact, black is forced to take a draw here with king g7, and this was a very good fighting game. This I found. By the way, taking the queens off is bad for white, I think. You know, if white tries to win with queen e5 check, the queen exchange is good for black. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this game. Please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.